please welcome to the stage the Chair of the Academic Senate, Dr. Veena Prabhu. Dr. Prabhu will introduce the university's new faculty.
A very good morning. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed this comparatively longer summer. I hear you. Summers are never long, and it always flies, never passes. You know what? But I think this is one aspect of the semester system we can all get used to, right? This summer was indeed very special because on July 2nd, we celebrated the 70th birthday of our beloved Cal State LA. And I think all of you will agree with me when I say, over the passing years, Cal State LA has only grown more youthful, more beautiful, filling our hearts with pride and joy. Right? By the way, just in case you're wondering how you can get a piece of that yummy 70th celebration cake, well, that makes two of us. And if you figure that out, do let me know. If it is of any solace, even our dear President Covino did not get a piece of that cake. I've been told that public affairs takes our health very seriously and took the bullet for us. Ate the entire yummy cake. Okay, before they kill me. This summer also marks the end of our very first year in the semester. Yes, we had our hiccups. We had some major challenges. In fact, there was one problem which was the size of a baby dinosaur: parking. But you know what? In fall, I made several friends with complete strangers because in the elevator and in the staircase, we would complain, sometimes compete, how long it took for us to get one parking spot. We bonded, no doubt. There were other challenges too. There was scheduling, there was financial aid. But you know what? In all this, what triumphed, what stood out, what even tamed that baby dinosaur is that we all came together to make this year successful for our students. So please accept my congratulations, my heartfelt thanks for all your hard work, your support, and your patience. Can you please give yourselves a thundering applause? You know, this applause is incomplete if we do not thank, or if we do not give a special thank you to that special group of people who work tirelessly. They burn the candle on both ends. They take all these problems, emerging new ones, head on. Please put your hands together for our dear department chairs. Today is indeed a very auspicious day because today we welcome and embrace 40 new faculty members. They represent all colleges, various departments. They come to Cal State LA from across the globe. A big thank you to CETL. They have put together a lovely video introducing our new faculty, showcasing their achievements and their rich experiences. Let's take a look. Enjoy. to our new colleagues, a big, warm hug to each one of you, and a very warm welcome from all of us. Welcome to the Cal State LA family. Will the new faculty please stand? Thank you. My dear new faculty, it was exactly 10 years ago that I stood in your shoes, beginning a new chapter in my life. My heart fluttering, a million thoughts racing in my mind. But you know what? All the anxiety, all the doubts vanished on the very first day of class. I can assure you, next week, when you meet our students, something magical will happen. These past 10 years have no doubt been the best years of my life solely because of our students' love and motivation. And every faculty in this room will vouch that Cal State LA students are truly inspirational and our pride. You're joining an exceptional group of faculty. If you really want to figure out how good a university is, ask the graduating students, ask our alumni. In these past 10 years, I've had the opportunity of talking to many alumni, and they had many good things to say. But the one common thing that stood out is that each one of them fondly remembered one faculty, if not more, who had deeply affected them and transformed their life. Yes, Cal State LA faculty members not only give our students a rigorous education, but they also give them a much-needed bonds for life. Yes, brilliant and inspiring is our faculty, our lecturers, and they are no doubt the foundation of this university. Yes. I'm going to repeat that. Yes, our brilliant and inspiring faculty and our exceptional lecturers are the foundation of this university, but also we have one of the most hardworking and committed staff members who are the silent pillars of this university. We have a determined team of administrators who are constantly trying to find innovative ways to address new and ongoing issues. Remember, they have very scanty resources to work with. You know, sometimes those innovative ways work, sometimes they don't, but they never give up. Last but not the least, we are blessed to have a very dedicated, transformative, and visionary leader in President Covino. He has indeed pushed Cal State LA's boundaries. A leader with a heart. And especially this year, one would always find a big, broad smile on his face because Cal State LA was ranked #1 in the country for upward mobility. And you know, when outsiders would ask him, time and again, what is that secret recipe? Like, how did you do that? He would always aptly and with pride say, it is solely due to the dedication and commitment of each and every Cal State LA family member. My dear faculty, my dear new faculty, you're joining this exceptional family. Together, we will not only provide our students a transformative educational experience, but we will ensure that they soar and achieve their dreams. Thank you and welcome again.
Please welcome to the stage the chair of the Outstanding Professor Award Committee, Dr. Choi Chatterjee. Dr. Chatterjee will present the Outstanding Professor, Outstanding Lecturer, and the President's Distinguished Professor Awards.
Good morning and welcome to everybody. And today I have the enormous privilege, and actually had the most fun doing this, of recognizing 6 outstanding faculty members at Cal State LA. University Convocation is always inspiring, ever since I came here 23 years ago, as it gives us a chance to learn about the many, many accomplishments of our colleagues. Many of our faculty are internationally recognized leaders in their fields, and it is a great honor for our students to be taught by scholars and professionals of this caliber. For the benefit of our new faculty, and I welcome you from the bottom of my heart, I'm so happy all of you are here, I would like to provide a little background about the awards. Our Academic Senate established the Outstanding Professor Awards program in 1963. Recipients of the Outstanding Professor, Outstanding Lecturer, and the President's Distinguished Professor Awards are selected by a faculty committee assisted by representative of the Alumni Association and associated students. According to the faculty handbook, while these awards are to be made primarily for excellence in teaching, we expect awardees to have made significant achievements in the fields of scholarly inquiry, creative and professional activities, and service to the campus and community. Each and every one of our awardees exemplifies these wonderful ideals. As always, we had an extremely impressive pool of nominees, and the committee had to make some very hard choices. I'd like to take a moment to recognize the members of our committee who devoted an incredible amount of time to reading through the impressive and in some cases very lengthy files of our colleagues. Okay, Andrei Avramchuk from the Department of Management, if you will please rise. Gabriela Fried-Emilvia from the Department of Sociology. Pamela Reagan from the Department of Psychology. Fred Uy from the Charter College of Education, and Maria Obago from the Office of Alumni Relations. I also want to thank Jean and Rhonda in the Senate office for making our task that much easier. They were the most incredibly efficient people. Continuing the tradition started by the 2014 OPA committee, Alan Bloom, Professor of TV, Film, and Media Studies, has created a short documentary about each of the awardees. Each and every video is a work of art, as Alan is an extremely gifted, intuitive, and painstaking director. Alan has the rare ability to turn academics into real human beings, and that's where the art lies. Each with their unique life story, and I don't know how he does it every year. We also want to thank his production assistant, Aaron Bloom of CSU Monterey Bay, and his former student and Cal State LA alumnus, Art Simon of Art Simon Productions, for their assistance. Alan, will you please rise? Is Alan here? So after the video, President Covino, Provost Mahoney, and Dr. Prabhu will join me to present the awards. So we start with our outstanding lecturer, Jay Conway, from the Department of Philosophy.
I grew up in Florida. I was a NASA kid. My father was the manager that was in charge of the cargo bay. My first day of school, my mom asked me, "How did it go?" I said, "I hate that place. Don't make me go back." Of course, I've never left school. Got my BA and my MA at University of South Florida. Hypatia, one of the better known journals of feminist philosophy, was there. And I think of working on that journal as really one of the most important classrooms that I had. My department has gone out of its way to be there for me. It's a great department. There are moments as a writer that are for me unbeatable. Same thing as an instructor. My students are hungry for a class that challenges them intellectually. I will do just about whatever it takes to pull people in to the material and get them to push themselves. The relationship with Deleuze has been a long one. Deleuze's system is like any great philosophical system. Every bit of attention that I direct toward Deleuze's work enables me to do things that I couldn't do before, and they're not exactly things that Deleuze himself did. Really, the biggest thing that coming out to California has involved for me is being adopted by a very large and tight-knit family, and I now have two godkids, Sixus and Diego. So that's just been such a huge thing in my life over the last almost 20 years now. The sheep belong to my mom. Just looking at sheep in a field can be quite relaxing. I had a cat, Colette, came up to me on the street 19 years ago, and I had her for 17 years, having to deal with her not being in this space. Her ashes are over there, her toys are on the windowsill, her name tags are around my neck. And in fact, my book, there were a lot of people thanked, but at the end of the thank yous, I say, at my side is Colette. Colette was my muse.
Our first outstanding professor is Talia Becher, also from the Department of Philosophy.
For me, it's very connected to my life. And, I've always sort of struggled with the big questions, and that's how I got into philosophy. And it was proposed to me, why don't you become a philosophy major? You're really good at it. And I was like, no, I want to get a job. And so here I am because, my advisor, who was my philosophy teacher, sort of prophesied. She said, you have a good nose for philosophy, you'll come back to it. And sure enough, I did. But, I have a life to live, and I have a lot of questions as a trans person. And, like, what the hell's going on? How do we figure out what's going on? It's a confusing world. It's not a world that's built for trans people. Why is there so much invalidation? Why is there so much violence and abuse? And it was when a young trans girl, Gwen Araujo, was murdered in Newark, California. At the time, the mainstream media was very poor. They basically represented her as like a boy who dressed as a girl. It was the same rhetoric that had been used by her murderers, and it was the same rhetoric that was used by the defense. And so I wrote this paper called Evil Deceivers and Make Believers. It really explores this idea of how trans people are viewed as like really a man disguised as a woman, really a woman disguised as a man, trying to trick people, trying to pretend. And that was sort of my entree into trans studies and trans philosophy. When I moved to LA to get my PhD at UCLA, and I transitioned midway through my program there, the department was very accepting. It was remarkable. So, in really in important ways, LA is home to me. But it really wasn't until I started teaching at Cal State LA that I fell in love with the philosophy department here because it had such a strong feminist backbone. It was a pluralist department. Well, I mean, for me, the most exciting moment in teaching is when conversation, or I should say philosophy, breaks out between students. It is always remains important that philosophy actually be engaged with the world. I like it when students can do that as well, and I like it when they can feel courageous enough to challenge their own beliefs. Fundamental to a university education, at least one time, one class, you should have your mind blown. So I took this, a couple of workshops on performance art, and it was, for me, a fountain. As part of the narrative, I actually really did find this accordion in a garage that is exactly like the old accordion I used to play, and I broke it out. I'm like, wow, I'm going to use this. Because accordions are cool and they're funny. I'm going to do some stuff with them. I really enjoy commencement, and I really enjoy, I get even a little bit sentimental, when students of mine succeed in that way.
Our second outstanding professor is Arturo Pacheco Vega from the Department of Mechanical Engineering.
I was born in Mexico, in the city of León, Guanajuato, a beautiful city in the mountains. I studied mechanical and electrical engineering because since I was a kid, and I am the oldest of 5 brothers, became all engineers. My parents instilled in us a desire to learn. I wanted to build things and to analyze things. The process took me to a career in mechanical engineering that extended to civil, electrical, communications, and even architecture. I wanted to go in a different direction, which was becoming a scientist. With support from my wife, we decided, okay, let me take a 75% cut in my salary and go back to school. Yes, without my wife, I wouldn't be here. Without her support, I really wouldn't. I went back to the University of Guanajuato in this case and pursued my first master's in engineering design. And at that time, I basically got a Fulbright fellowship to do a second master's and a PhD at the University of Notre Dame in mechanical engineering, where I studied, I did my PhD, finished in 2002, and so I developed my thesis in finite difference methods in fluid mechanics and heat transfer, and that took me into the direction I am in right now. The idea is to develop thermal systems that are good for society. My interests range from macroscopic and geophysical flows to microscopic and flows in microchannels, let's say. Do I use a set of different techniques from hard computing, which is the typical numerical methods, or soft computing? And these techniques enable us to basically understand them better and modeling the behavior of better. When they enroll in my classes, they know they have to work, and they have to work a lot. And they accept the challenge, and they really are engaged. So that feedback that I receive from them feeds me to provide more information, gives me enthusiasm, and that's why I have done it for so many years. Cal State enables me to have higher impact on people. We can change lives in students, and I have seen it through the years. I arrived here in 2008, and in basically 9 years, I've seen many of my students' lives completely changed. Oh, my students, they're great, honestly. They are very engaged, they're very enthusiastic, they want to learn. They teach me on how to become a better mentor. There are so many things to learn. And the more I learn, the more I know that I don't know. So the more I want to learn.
Our third outstanding professor is Nanda Ganesan from the Department of Information Systems.
I was born in an island called Sri Lanka. I grew up there. It's a peninsula. We were surrounded by the sea, so I had to be close to the sea all the time. That was a place that valued education a lot. Ceylon was the name given by the British, and my father served Royal Air Force. He would always tell us stories about how he was captured by the Japanese and was put to work. He was very good. He was an electrical engineer. So that was an asset. So my father would always say, look, because of education, I was spared. I have degrees in different areas, and I always encourage my students and my kids to look at different areas. I started as a mechanical engineer because I wanted to do things. I was always interested in creating things. I got a degree in operations research, one of the most valuable degrees, that brought me into thinking that the resources we have are limited. We need to optimize and get the best out of it. I wanted to do a PhD where I can bring my interest in electronics and computers. So I choose to do a PhD in information systems and industrial engineering in England, Birmingham. Birmingham is where you make cars, where my interest was in using computers to organize the production of vehicles. In other words, how to control the stocks and so on. Almost all my degrees, one of the things I cherish and value is the fact that all these degrees made us work in the industry. I worked in Jaguar Motors, and it was a great experience working and tying my research to real applications. That's where my heart was. Of course, finally, I also decided to get a master's degree in computer science, came to USC, because I wanted to go deep into computers as well. And I always tell my students to look at other areas. Say the same thing to my kids. I hope they listen to me as well. I am very much involved in social work. I used to go out and teach in refugee camps. I went to India and worked in refugee camps, teaching them. These are refugees who were displaced from Sri Lanka because of the civil war. I think education must be given to all. Cal State LA is special to me because the freedom to innovate, that is very special about Cal State LA. I have worked in 6 different countries. In Iran, I have taught in Sri Lanka, I have worked in England, in Japan, Singapore, Australia, and I'm here. There's a desire to learn, and they see the value of education. It is amazing what they do, and they will be successful because not only they are going through an education process, they are going through a life process. I'm here for the students. I have this argument with my kids. They keep on telling me that, you don't live to work, you work to live. But I tell them that, if you are not happy at your workplace, you will not live to work. I look forward to going and lecturing. When I'm stressed, I go and teach. I look forward to going and teaching. It's a stress reliever. You are imparting knowledge in students who are eager to learn. I want to serve the students. Above all, part of my life must be dedicated to the service, something that was taught to me by my grandfather, and I will always do that. Education is the key to getting out of any misfortune. I will do that.
To carry this with me. This is my security blanket. So our fourth outstanding professor is Patrick Krug from the Department of Biological Sciences.
If you'd asked me when I was 3 years old what I wanted to do when I grew up, I would have said I want to study snails and slugs. I get to actually do the only thing that I ever wanted to do. This frustrated my mother to no end and set up a lifelong struggle because from my family's perspective, if you were scientifically inclined, that meant you should want to be a doctor. Every summer we would go to the Jersey Shore for family vacation and we would pass these rickety old fishing shacks falling into the bay, and my mother would push my little face up against the car window and say, "Patrick, do you see those? That's where the marine biologists have to live." And then we would get to the oceanfront mansions and she would say, "Patrick, that's where the doctors live with their mothers." So I got a background in one area, which was molecular biology, and then I went and did a PhD in marine biology. And now I do mostly ecology and evolutionary biology. But what's nice, I think, is that a diverse background lets me think somewhat integratively. The aspect of my sea slugs that gets the most press, the most attention, is that they're photosynthetic. So they eat seaweed and they incorporate the chloroplasts, which is the part of the seaweed that does photosynthesis, inside their own cells. And they can stop eating and live on sunlight. And they can survive, in some cases, for months without ever feeding again. And there is no other animal that can do that. I think that it's incredibly important that our students spend a lot more time outside engaging with their environment. And when I say engaging, I really do mean engaging all their senses. So I think if you're in a tide pool, you should be touching, you should be poking and prodding. If a sea anemone sticks to your fingers, I want you to think about why it's sticky. It's shooting tiny envenomed harpoons into your finger. There's a reason it's sticking to you. I think that there's something to be said for licking a sea slug and thinking about what it means that it tastes bad. You know, there's a reason. If it tastes bad to you, it probably tastes bad to a fish, and that's how it avoids getting eaten. So now you've learned a valuable lesson about how natural systems operate, in addition to being hilariously grossed out in front of the whole class, and earning 1 point of extra credit. It turns out that giving species names is essential if you care about marine conservation. You can't really protect species if you don't know who they are and where they are. It's also really important for basic scientific communication. And when I started working on this group of sea slugs, what I found out was that 1 in 3 species that I found was undescribed, meaning it didn't have a scientific name. We named the first species, which I've worked on, we named after the character of Willow from the TV show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I think I'm the only scientist to use the phrase Buffy the Vampire Slayer in a peer-reviewed journal article. I named a species after my grandmother and my aunt because I think I inherited my grandmother's stubbornness, so that's Alicia Christine. We've named species after the ostrich that I rode in Curacao. I think if we hadn't ridden the ostrich, we wouldn't have ended up on that particular beach and I wouldn't have found that species. We are naming a species after Barack Obama that we found in Hawaii in honor of his work making the largest marine protected area. I am always surprised to find out that what we think we know about the natural world is frequently upside down and backwards, and that living systems have an almost endless capacity to show us that the world is a lot more complicated than our simple models and simple ideas.
And finally, the President's Distinguished Professor Award. In order to be eligible for this, faculty must have already received the Outstanding Professor Award and have maintained a strong record of publications, teaching, and service till then. No pressure there. This year, it gives me great pleasure to present the President's Distinguished Professor Award to Sharon Ulanoff from the Division of Curriculum and Instruction at the Charter College of Education.
I am a professor of bilingual multicultural education in the Division of Curriculum and Instruction, and so that is my field, but right now I'm the acting director of the EDD and Ed Leadership. So I grew up in Freeport, New York. Ever since I was about 2 years old, I wanted to be a teacher. And so my parents didn't want me to be a teacher. They wanted me to be an artist or a writer. So they did not really encourage me, but they did in a lot of ways. So when I was about 7, they bought me a chalkboard for a gift. I tortured all the neighbor children with Sharon summer school in the summer. I also wanted to learn Spanish. And then I found out I was pretty good at it, and so kept on going. My bachelor's degree is in Spanish. I was a former elementary school teacher, so my passion is classroom research, looking at second language learners. So I moved out here in 1975, and I ended up getting my master's at Cal State LA and had a really great experience here. Some great professors that ended up being my colleagues. My last 4 years as an elementary teacher, I taught the same students. We looped from 2nd grade to 5th grade together. But till recently, I thought the highlight of my academic career was watching one of those students graduate from Cal State LA while I was a faculty member sitting in the audience. Then I hooded my first doctoral student. Watch them get their degrees and get hooded, and just to be able to hood them, it's just like an amazing feeling. If you asked me to give you a couple words to describe who I am, I would say, first of all, I'm a teacher. And I say that instead of instructor because a teacher is my identity. I'm a practitioner, I'm a scholar, but I'm also a mentor, and I was thrilled to come back to Cal State LA. So I've been blessed in my life to work at 3 jobs that I loved. I taught in the same school for 14 years as an elementary school teacher. I taught at Cal State San Marcos for 8 years, and I've been here since 2001. I can't sleep the day before school starts because I'm excited to go back to school. I get up because I'm excited and happy to be alive. I'm excited to go to work. I'm also passionate about the things I enjoy to do. I travel a lot. It's one of my goals to eat in all the 3-star restaurants in Europe. I guess what gets me up is just excitement about another day that I get to be here. And I'm mostly looking forward to seeing my students. I'm looking forward to actually also seeing my colleagues. I really enjoy my colleagues. The best part of my day or week is when I get to teach. That's the best part. I get surprised by how dedicated my students are, and I'm also, I guess surprised isn't the right word. Amazed is more a better word. Gratified, humbled by support that I've received from both students and faculty and staff. Life happened and intervened, and we had to take a little break from it, and so we're going to start working on our book. I'm looking forward to a trip to Paris. That'd be really nice. I love my job, so it's not really a job.
It over to Dr. Covino. I have to give some thanks. I didn't quite realize how much work this day is. So I wanted to call out a few people. Maria Mogolski in University Advancement. Andy Barth, Wendy Baker, Greg Sydenham, and to the wonderful Luckman staff and crew for making the University Convocation a success. And finally, many thanks to President Covino, Provost Mahoney, for encouraging the tradition of scholarship creativity, and professional activities at Cal State LA. It is at the heart of what we do and what we do very well. Final round of applause.
On July 2, 1947, through an act of the California State Legislature, Los Angeles State College was established. 70 years later, Cal State LA is the premier public comprehensive university in the heart of Los Angeles. Let's take a look back at those 7 decades.
I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill. On Blueberry
1, 2, 3 o'clock,
Hill.
4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. Put your glad rags on, join me home. We'll have some fun when the clock strikes 1. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock, 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 rock.
Well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? I'm itching like a man on a fuzzy tree. My friends say I'm acting wild as a bug. I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, my hands are shaky and my knees are weak. I can't seem to stand on my own 2 feet. Who do you think of when you have such luck? I'm in love. I'm
Try
all
to see
shook
it
up.
my way. Do I have to keep on talking till I can go on? While you see it your way, run the risk of knowing that our love may soon be gone. We can work it out. We can.
You know the day destroys the night. Night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side, yeah.
I can't get no
ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the president of Cal State LA, Bill Covino.
Well, good morning. First, let's offer a round of applause to our photographer and videographer, Emilio Flores, and the superb team at Communications and Public Affairs for taking us back through the music and memories that are such a wonderful part of the university's history. As we mark the start of a new academic year, we are, of course, acutely aware of the ways in which national events unsettled our university community last term and continue to, driving us to reaffirm our core ideals and ethics. So, we meet together today to celebrate the dedication and goodwill that have defined this university for 7 decades, to reaffirm our collective vision with an unrelenting commitment to our students, our colleagues, and our community, and enthusiasm for the future that we continue to create together. Let me be clear about the current events that have occupied us in recent days. There is no moral equivalency between those of us who embrace social justice rooted in inclusion, free speech, and equity, and those who perpetuate a legacy of hate, violence, misogyny, bigotry, anti-Semitism, hostility toward the LGBTQ+ community, and white supremacy. There is no moral equivalency. The tragedy in Charlottesville reminds me that those of us in higher education at public universities are here because we have a strong stake in social, economic, and political equity and social justice. That's what we stand for. That's what we will continue to stand for. Now, as we celebrate Cal State LA's 70th anniversary, and as we saw in the presentation, we look back with pride at the roads we've traveled since 1947. What's been accomplished here over 7 decades could not have taken place without generations of students, faculty, and staff, generations of alumni and supporters working collectively for the public good. We are all part of that rich legacy. So many architects of that legacy are here today. So let me ask the members of our Emeriti faculty, members of the President's Council, members of the Alumni Association Board joining us here today to please stand and let us thank you for helping to build this university. Thank you. The new president of the student body is David Zitzer. With all of you, I wish David and his ASI colleagues much success and look forward to their leadership and spirit this year. David, where are you? There he is, David Zitzer. The last year was filled with milestones. In January, an unprecedented research study published in the New York Times ranked us, and you've heard me say this before, and I don't think I'm ever going to stop saying it, ranked us #1 in the nation for the upward mobility of our students. Now, we already knew that, go ahead. We already knew that we transform lives and that we help students to write new futures, but now we have the data to demonstrate conclusively that we've been #1 at this enterprise for decades. This is a point of pride that no other university anywhere can claim, so feel free to use it liberally. Right? This last year, we dedicated the Rongshang Shu College of Health and Human Services, James M. Rosser Hall, and the Erica J. Glazer Family Dreamers Resource Center. Great, right? Our Educational Participation in Communities program, known as EPIC, has celebrated its 50th anniversary. Our Early Entrance program celebrated 35 years of welcoming brilliant younger students to Cal State LA. This coming October, the signature event for our athletics department will mark its 20th anniversary. The Billie Jean King and Friends Gala has supported hundreds of student athletes over the years. We had another remarkable fundraising year with over $14 million in new philanthropic support, and that number may rise when the tallying is finalized. We're still counting the dollars. We love counting the dollars. So thank you to University Advancement for bringing in those dollars and helping us to move forward in critical ways. Last year, at the Fall Convocation, I unveiled our strategic plan, our roadmap for the future. And I am so pleased to report that throughout the university community, the plan has come to life. Each college, department, division, office is helping to transform the 4 pillars of the strategic plan into reality. Evidence of our forward movement can be seen in programs and initiatives, in better outcomes for our students, in national honors and awards. Today, we can point to these developments as vivid illustrations of the journey that we have undertaken together. So let's take a look point by point, pillar by pillar, at the progress we've made in the plan's 4 strategic priority areas. Academic distinction. For the 2nd year in a row, Cal State LA saw the highest increase in the number of student applications of any of the 23 campuses in the California State University system. So people want to come here. That increase is yet another indicator of our growing prominence and distinction, and we continue to respond to that demand with, as you will see, when the students arrive next week, we respond with upgrades and improvements to all areas of the university to accommodate our growth, and we'll continue to do so. Today, as you've seen, we welcome 40 new, wonderful, accomplished, exciting, and excited, I hope, faculty members. And we plan to add another 50+ faculty members next year. To those of you who are joining us today, I hope that you know by now that you are joining a faculty, an award-winning faculty that is deeply passionate about transforming their disciplines with path-breaking research and scholarship and transforming the lives of those that they teach. The faculty's success continues to earn national recognition. The American Council on Education, which is the largest council in higher education, recognized our Center for Effective Teaching and Learning, CETL, recognized CETL for its exemplary efforts to increase student success through innovative instruction. The Council's report refers to CETL as a crucial lever in our plan to achieve the goals of Graduation Initiative 2025. If you haven't seen the t-shirts, the CETL t-shirts are great. On the back, it says, "Stay calm, CETL is here." I've asked for one. And as we continue to think about our distinction, once again, the National Science Foundation ranks Cal State LA as the #1 master's granting institution in the nation for graduating Latino students in STEM who go on to earn the PhD. #1, year after year after year after year. So many thanks on that score to the deans, chairs, and faculty of the College of Natural and Social Sciences and the College of Engineering, Computer Science, and Technology for producing the students that help us to earn this recognition. At a time when funding of externally sponsored programs has become more and more limited, Cal State LA continues to win more and more grants and contracts. In fiscal year 16-17, we received more than $42.7 million in new awards. That's up from $34 million the year before. So a tremendous increase in research activity. Professor Stefan Kozlacki is the principal investigator for a $600,000 federal grant to study the exercise needs of wheelchair users. Electrical and computer engineering professor Marina Munden is the principal investigator for a $380,000 grant from the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, to conduct research designed to improve cybersecurity. Bianca Guzman is the principal investigator for a $473,000 grant from the LA Unified School District. And Associate Dean Rita Ledesma is the principal investigator for a $16.6 million grant from the California Department of Healthcare Services to promote dental health among underserved populations in Los Angeles. Join me for a moment in welcoming the two newest members of our academic leadership team. Our new Dean of the College of Business and Economics, Rami Maisami, Rami's there, and our new Associate Vice President for Research, Jeffrey Underwood. Rami, Jeffrey's there, okay. There we go. Jeffrey's the guy with the grant money, so. We continue to celebrate a vibrant student life with clubs, organizations, opportunities for involvement that make it easier for students to feel as if they belong, and indeed they do belong. There's no as if about it. Students who connect with other students who share their interests. And when school spirit is high, more students know that they're part of something special. And there were a lot of special moments as we welcomed our new applicants through orientation and beyond over this past summer. This is the first year that Cal State LA led mandatory orientation programs for transfer students. This allowed all transfer students to meet with their advisors to register for classes. The first step in achieving our goals for graduation 2025. So thank you to Linda Centino, Jennifer Sly Davis, and Chris Johnson for supervising 60 orientation leaders who served as the welcoming face of the university for 3,850 new transfer students. Thank you very much. Our strategic plans inclusive campus consultative group and the chairs and faculty of our ethnic studies units are looking at ways to make our university more welcoming and inclusive. Now, this is really exciting, I think. The group's recommendations, which I fully endorse, include, first of all, giving department status to our Asian American Studies program. Dean Pamela Scott Johnson is working with the faculty to develop a proposal for the creation of a vibrant department that will help students gain a better understanding of the histories, cultures, and contributions of Asian and Asian American communities. I announced our plan to pursue department status last spring at the opening of the Chinese American Oral History Project at the library, and the hundreds who attended the event, mainly community people, greeted the news with great enthusiasm and excitement. I think our new department will be an exciting and wonderful addition to Cal State LA. The faculty have also recommended and are initiating the creation of an interdisciplinary and distinctive school or college to house our ethnic studies departments. Such a school or college would represent Cal State LA's commitment to robust interdisciplinary teaching and research on race, ethnicity, culture, language, and identity, and draw faculty and students from areas across the university, including the humanities, arts, engineering, business, education, the natural and social sciences. We know that Cal State LA is home to the nation's first Chicano Studies Department and the nation's second Pan-African Studies Department. With this new step forward, we will continue to make history. So. Our abiding ethic of engagement, service, and the public good extends throughout the university. Each year, thousands of our students, faculty, and staff serve in the community. At Convocation last year, we officially launched the I Serve LA tracker, which allows us to track and quantify the hours that we collectively donate to the region. Ultimately, we'll be able to translate the hours into the dollars that we are in fact donating to the region to offer a concrete illustration of an important element of Cal State LA's economic impact. So we are making great strides in that regard and appreciate this information, especially because it will also help us to apply for and to receive the Community Engagement Classification from the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching. This is a prestigious distinction. It's an indicator of an institution's commitment to service and engagement. And it's a 2-year process. The application for community engagement distinction starts now and will end in 2020 with an announcement of recipients. So I hope all of you will help us earn this designation by tracking your service with the tracker. Another commitment of engagement service to engagement service in the public good is our relatively new faculty fellowship for the public good, which supports innovative excellence in learning, teaching, scholarship, and community initiatives. We have a great roster of faculty fellows for the public good this year. David Bleckman from engineering, Dolores Delgado Bernal and Alejandro Covarrubias from Chicano Studies, Sam Landsberger from engineering, Portia Jackson Preston from public health, and Victor Viesca from history. So we will look forward to hearing about their projects as the year progresses. One of the greatest recent contributions to engagement service and the public good is the Rongshangshu Bioscience Innovation Center, which will house the LA Biospace Incubator and serve as a hub for entrepreneurship and job creation. Our supervisor, Hilda Solis, was here with us last evening with a number of participants in this project to commit the county's further support in this project and to celebrate all the great things in this corner that are happening at Cal State LA. In the spring, we launched LA BioStart, a collaboration that includes Cal State LA, the Biocom Institute, and the Los Angeles Clean Tech Incubator. BioStart provides entrepreneurs with training, mentoring, and the skills to launch their own bioscience ventures. The inaugural class of our boot camp, who received their certification last evening is an impressive group of 20 individuals working in areas that will have great impact, areas such as stem cell harvesting, a saliva collection and processing device for point-of-care diagnoses and screening, cancer treatment, detection, imaging, and therapy, including immunotherapy. These are the kinds of projects that these folks at BioStart are already working on and are going to make a transformative difference in the region and for the university and for our students and their communities. So we know that this holds tremendous promise. Go East LA, our Cradle to Career initiative, is very, very popular. It has expanded into the Central City area by popular demand. So Go Central City launched in January and offers the same opportunity and promises to students in the East LA schools and the Central City schools. Last year, the Go East LA and Go Central City initiatives served more than 17,000 individuals. Cal State LA students, faculty, and staff visited 95 schools and encouraged LA's children to set their sights on a college degree. And I will tell you, there's nothing more rewarding than watching first graders light up when you talk to them about coming to Cal State LA, and their families just beam with pride at that opportunity. Of course, Cal State LA also engages and serves the public good through the arts and does it wonderfully well. Since 1994, we've provided residents of the region an opportunity to experience professional arts in a world-class venue. Thousands of artists from around the world have presented their work at the Intimate Theater, the Luckman Gallery, the Street of the Arts, and right here in the wonderful Luckman Theater. Here are some of the highlights of what's been happening at the Luckman.
Something deep down, heard deep down in my soul said, go on and cry, girl. Say, and I'd rather, man, you're the answer that makes my questions disappear. Sugar man, 'cause I'm weary of those double games I hear. You're the answer that makes my questions disappear.
So many thanks to Wendy Baker and the staff of the Luckman Complex for enriching our community through the arts and for helping Cal State LA to serve the public good and for hosting our fall convocations. Last September, Cal State LA launched Graduation Initiative 2025 to increase graduation rates and to eliminate graduation inequity gaps. I am committed to increasing the 4-year graduation rate to 30%, the 6-year graduation rate to 55% for freshmen, 2-year graduation rate to 36%, and the 4-year graduation rate for transfer students to 81%. We're on our way to meeting these ambitious goals as our faculty and staff launch initiatives directed at improving access to classes as facilitating engaged teaching and learning, and add new technologies to better serve students. Specific initiatives include the WISE project, led by Professor Ji Sun and Vice Provost Amy Bippus, which offers interactive interventions that address academic abilities, setbacks, and a student's sense of belonging in higher education. It's sort of a way of keeping in touch, right? Professor Sun and Vice Provost Bippus will also study the impact of these interventions on the first-year students and see how it's working out. Efforts to reimagine first-year math are also underway. Very exciting efforts, addressing a persistent obstacle to student success. While the CSU system recently launched an initiative to improve outcomes across the system, our university began planning months ago. Professors Iyab Dimake and Debrasri Raychaudhry are working with Deans Pamela Scott Johnson and Michelle Hawley and faculty from across the university to create student learning pathways that will result in better learning outcomes and greater academic success. So stay tuned. We're also making great strides this year in improving access to classes and in better serving our new transfer students. So thank you to the Office of the Vice Provost for Budget and Planning, our associate deans, and our department chairs for meeting the course needs of our students so effectively. New transfer students got a better start in their Cal State LA careers this year when they received, this is really a big deal, they received their transfer credit evaluations in time for summer advising. This has never happened before, right? It'd be like Thanksgiving, and has my transcript been evaluated yet? And so they got them in the summer. So thank you very much to Margaret Garcia, Cheryl Pugh, Chris Cobb, Vince Lopez, Tammy Leung, Alma Franquez, Lisa Bickley, and Tamara Yamada, all working together with everyone else to make this happen. The university's e-advising initiative enjoyed a very successful launch thanks to Tom Enders, Michelle Hawley, Terry Eiler, our college directors of student success and academic advising, and our many faculty and staff advisors. Our success in this area will benefit students dramatically and directly. A system-wide study concluded that a first-time freshman who earns a degree just one term earlier will enjoy an immediate gain of over $13,000 and a long-term gain of over $31,000. So it really makes a significant and concrete difference in their lives. So thanks to all of you who are contributing to the Grad 2025 initiative. And I want to add something that I just learned yesterday or the day before yesterday. We are also getting better and better and better at dispersing financial aid in a timely way. As of last week, we were about 50% higher or ahead of past years in dispersing aid, and we had already dispersed $109 million in financial aid last week. So serving students in that regard is really important to this student population and this community, and I'm glad we're making progress. At Cal State LA, we understand that student success is also influenced by our students' experiences around the campus, outside the classroom. Our Division of Administration and Finance has worked diligently, 24 hours a day, really, on most days, to meet the needs that come with our growing student population. We've opened new food venues on campus: Salazar Cafe, Espresso Bar, King Coffee, Golden Eagle Express, Cafe 47. There'll be some food trucks here next week, by the way, in addition to all that. We've expanded our offerings to include more healthy menu options and offer longer hours. And we are, as of September 1st, but let's start today, a smoke-free, tobacco-free, and vape-free campus. The tagline that we're using is self-explanatory: Cal State LA, smoke-free for the health of all. So I encourage all of you to share this message, and I'm very grateful to Troy Allen and his committee for leading this effort. We continue to update systems to improve the experience of students on campus. This year, our Get Mobile app logged 1.4 million transactions. Our users made 1.4 million transactions using the most popular functions like, we have My Class Schedule and Enrollment and Exam Schedule. The most popular one, though, is, you know what it is, right? The Starbucks live stream. 1.4 million users, seeing how long the line is. So thank you to Information Technology Services for leading the way, providing better and better technology innovations for our students. Our faculty and staff, as we all know, are passionate, creative, tenacious, and deeply committed to the success of our students. These attributes are exemplified by the recipients of the 2017 Distinguished Women Awards: Ana Caudillo from the Office of the President, Martha Contreras from EOP, Marianne James from Accounting, Ashley Joseph from Associated Students, Jennifer McCormick from Curriculum and Instruction, Suzanne McAvoy from Academic Affairs, Charity Perry from Sociology, Cheryl Pugh from Undergraduate Studies, Lourdes Lulu Quinones from Upward Bound, Lizette Rivera from Liberal Studies, Thea Winkler from Counseling and Psychological Services, and Hung Chung Ye from Geosciences and Environment. Congratulations to all of our distinguished women. The recipient of the 2017 Outstanding Staff Award is also a proud alumna of Cal State LA. Iris, where are you? Iris Aceves. Iris, are you here? There she is. Stay standing, Iris. Iris has been the lead coordinator at the University Writing Center. She helps students develop the skills they need to thrive at the university and throughout their lives. And for Iris, the most rewarding aspect of her work is witnessing students develop into professionals. She served with EPIC and at Mind Matters town halls and is a very worthy recipient of our Outstanding Staff Award. Thank you, Iris. The staff of Facilities Service, this is the 24-hour-a-day crew, works hard to provide a safe, clean, and inviting campus environment that supports student success. And for the last couple of years, we've been celebrating them with the Champion Award, the Champion Awards in Facility Services. So the 2017 Facility Services champions include Patricia Barberena, Lisbeth DeLira, Jovita Diaz, Nancy Guardado, Calvin Howard, Yolanda Jimenez, Joe Marcetti, Crystal Mejia, Hoa Pham, Luis Ramirez, Dora Serafin, Rosie Solano, Daryl Swain, and Veronica Vienne. And the champions of the year in Facility Services are Emmanuel Free and Victor Pacheco. All of you, wherever you are, would you stand up and let us thank you? Oh, they're all together. All right. Thank you so much. This year, we launched a new initiative aimed at improving customer service. So I want to also thank our customer service champions for laying the groundwork for a comprehensive campus-wide training program that will give our dedicated faculty and student workers the tools to provide professional, courteous, and exceptional service at all points. The customer service champions are Martha Contreras, Jonathan Choi, Christopher Johnson, Lizette Juarez, Anush Mikaelian, Victor Hernandez, Matt Warren, Michelle Lovas, Maria Cersei, Ronnie Wills, Veronica Wu, and Chelsea Seeley. Where are you? Let us take a look at our customer service champions. Anybody come today? Oh, there we have some back there. Many of them are not here today because they are providing customer service. Since 2009, the university-wide Staff Planning Committee has convened 3 all-university staff meetings each year and several summer workshops that enable staff professional development that supports more successful and rewarding work and better results. So many thanks to the members of the Staff Planning Committee, Erica Alvarez Ramirez, Elia Amaro Hernandez, Frangelo Aaron, Jennifer Celaya Davis, Cynthia Galvez, Joan Lopez, Amy Miller, Delmi Ruiz, Leon Salerno, Reina Torres, and Susie Varela. I'd like to acknowledge also today our newest staff members who are attending their first fall convocation. So will any staff members here who joined LA since last September, please stand and let us welcome you. Thank you very much. Glad to have you with us. If you've been on campus this summer, you've seen the earth movers and workers in hard hats. You've heard the sounds of progress. We are renovating and building the Rongsheng Shu Bioscience Innovation Center, the Los Angeles Football Club training facility, the track and field renovation project, the renovation of the building formerly known as Physical Sciences, the new Rosie Casals Pancho Gonzalez Tennis Center, and we'll present plans for our new parking structure to the Board of Trustees in September, next month. I want to dwell for just a moment on our relationship with the Los Angeles Football Club. This is an example of great success and growing great partnerships. The LAFC is the newest Major League Soccer team in Los Angeles, and it has selected Cal State LA as the home of its $30 million training facility, soccer operations headquarters, and youth academy. That's what you see on the screen. In addition, the LAFC has already committed. They handed us a check for $1.6 million in support for Cal State LA, including a renovation of our soccer field and other improvements. Our students will benefit from this partnership in a number of ways. Upgraded facilities, opportunities supported by a relationship with LAFC, like internships, practicum hours, a new graduate program in sport operations, and athletic representation. So thank you to everyone involved, to Barbara Queen and Warren Jacobs for their work on the LAFC and bioscience projects, and a special thank you to Executive Vice President Jose Gomez, who spearheaded this effort. Our athletics program continues to push toward greater heights. Congratulations to our women's tennis team and their coaches. The team earned an Intercollegiate Tennis Association All-Academic Team Award for having a strong academic and athletic team. And go ahead. And congratulations to our track and field team and their coaches. Student Ingvar Mosley was the California Collegiate Athletic Association champion in the 400 hurdles. Ingvar and long jumper Jalea Miles earned all academic honors from the U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association this summer. Our soccer teams are starting their seasons. There's a game today with top rankings in the conference. We look forward to another great year from our student athletes. A key component of student success is inner well-being. As many of you know, Debbie Covino and I launched the Mind Matters initiative to integrate well-being into the fabric of this university. Now, perhaps more than ever, we need to ensure that our students understand the importance of caring for their inner selves, and we are providing them with ways to do so. Let's take a look at the work of the Mind Matters initiative.
We've made a lot of progress since we started Mind Matters 4 years ago. You might know that Mind Matters is a campus-wide initiative whose purpose is to integrate inner well-being into the framework of Cal State LA. Probably the most important accomplishment of the Mind Matters initiative is that students no longer face a lengthy wait time when seeking the help of a psychological counselor at the Student Health Center. It's so crucial that our students not have to wait several days or even weeks to talk to someone when they're having a problem. We're all grateful for the wonderful work that our team does at Counseling and Psychological Services. Another area in which we've made significant progress is in working against the stigma that can be associated with mental health care. The CAPS team has made a number of videos available at the Cal State LA homepage that feature our own students sharing strategies they use to lower their stress and remain successful in college.
Because when I'm physically active, I feel like I can focus on myself, and especially when I'm out hiking or trail running, being out in nature is very peaceful.
So if you're feeling stressed from home, I would say do whatever makes you feel happy and relaxed.
Music a lot. I mean, I really do. I'm not necessarily proficient at music. However, I really enjoy it. It's a great way to release a lot of stress for me. If you can do something about it, why worry? If you can't do something about it, why worry? And then that kind of helps alleviate my stress.
It's hoped that when our students see peers talking about these matters, they'll feel more comfortable about any problems they may be experiencing. A number of the talks in our speaker series demonstrate that our emotions and our inner states are so important in our lives. And in my Bad Thoughts blog, I show that everyone has bad feeling thoughts and states of mind at times, and that it's possible to find more constructive ones. These are just a few of the ways in which we've sought to reduce the stigma that can sometimes prevent people from seeking help. A third area of substantial progress has been adding campus resources, whose objective is to promote inner well-being. For example, the therapy dogs. Everyone loves the therapy dogs. Studies show that animals have a healing effect, and all we have to do is look into the eyes of a cute canine to see that for ourselves. Oh, and cats work too, by the way. We've had a therapy cat join the lineup on a couple of occasions. Also, the Student Health Advisory Committee has enlarged the presence of the Health Hut, which provides information and resources to students. Also, we have a reflection room in the Student Union where one can go to find inner quiet for a while or to enjoy a guided meditation. Students can also find my brief mood-elevating exercises on the Mind Matters web pages. We know that these efforts on the part of the Mind Matters team are so important because all over the country, students experience high levels of stress. So many of them are focused not only on succeeding in college, but also on earning a living and caring for their families. It's a lot for anyone to manage. For our students, inner well-being plus academic success equals remarkable lives.
Debbie, take a bow. Last year, 1,600 students participated in Mind Matters town halls as part of our first year experience program, where 150 administrators, faculty, staff, and students served as volunteer table coaches. At these gatherings, the students created action plans for health and well-being on the university campus and for our community. These plans will be implemented in the spring of 2018. So stay tuned. I'm pleased to announce 2 new components of Mind Matters. This semester marks the start of Well-Being Wednesdays. On designated Wednesdays, I'll tell you about that picture in a minute. On designated Wednesdays, Mind Matters and Student Health Advisory Committee volunteers will be visible on the main walkway, so that's next Wednesday, providing students with information and opportunities to engage with each other. Faculty and staff who have received training in Cal State LA Mental Health First Aid, we have 360 who've been through training so far, will participate as well-being ambassadors. In other words, the campus will feature our many stewards of well-being who can offer tips and strategies and resources for thriving here at Cal State LA. Now, this guy, not me, the other guy, we've named him Welly, you know, well-being, well, you know, Welly is his name, and he's the Mind Matters mascot. He will be out on the walkway next week. You can have your picture taken with him and talk to him a little bit if that's the kind of thing you like to do. So we're happy to have our new mascot and to be launching the Wellbeing Wednesdays initiative. We're also launching our Mind Matters Champions Award. This award will recognize faculty and staff who represent exceptional and innovative dedication to the inner well-being of others. With this award, we're going to expand the work of Mind Matters, continue to encourage student success and the health of the campus community. It's all very rewarding, and I'm so happy we're engaged with it. On that note, I wish you all a semester filled with well-being and success. I thank you for being back with us, those new folks for joining us. It's a great pleasure and honor to have you all at Cal State LA. There is music in the plaza, so enjoy it, and thank you. Welcome to Fall 2017.
Thank you for attending Cal State LA's 2017 University Convocation.